My entree into this industry was actually my second co-op job. The first co-op job, I worked for an old Yankee firm called Barclay Smith, which is the New England distributor for Anderson windows and Morgan doors. It was kind of fascinating for me as a young guy to see a family-run, 100-year-old company that it was very tightly run amongst the family, and it's kind of an interesting perspective for me. And I really enjoyed seeing that, and I learned a lot with that. My second co-op job was actually getting into this industry, so that really prepared me quite well from a ground level of getting some basic fundamentals in, and I think that was very, very important for my development in my career. The other thing is that I observed that my friends who went traditional 4-year schools, they get out a year before me, but when I got out, I had a year plus experience under my belt. And I had actually had some real good experience. And as I said, it gave me an entree into an opportunity, which I saw as an opportunity, and I just, went after it. And it took my friends, many more years to get into positions where they were successful. The third thing I would say is, I do remember a number of courses in the business school that I still reflect on that were very beneficial to me. One in particular, I had a business professor who actually taught at the Harvard Business School, and he presented a lot of the case model studies, and I was fascinated by that stuff. And I still remember some of the case models that he presented that we talked about and went through to this day, and it was just really he's one of a couple that I remember, but I was really fascinated and very interested in that whole way of teaching, and he taught me a lot about human interaction and how other companies have done it. And, so I thought it was a great background, great preparation for me.
You guys came out of the graduate school.
For me, only two things. One was the ability to customize. I, of course, went to the required courses of the master's program. I was very interested in research methodology because I was already doing a lot of it on the academic side as a clinical pharmacist, but I felt I was lacking the knowledge behind it. So once I tapped that was actually tapped out, and I still had a number of credits left, I was able to work with my two advisors, who are wonderful, and actually almost designed additional, and I took classes in different schools, and I was able to really come out, I think, with something that reflected my interests and needs at that point in my career. The second piece is the content of some of the courses. I found that I actually referred to them for many years later, and there was a sense of relevance to the job as opposed to you're going to school and you have the degree, but there was actually a sense of relevance to the immediate job because I was in drug development. I started in academia and then I was in biotech by the time I finished the degree, the master's degree. And I remember we were talking about, this is the late 80s, early 90s, pharmacoeconomic quality of life. Everybody thought it was flop, what's this? It became the next big thing in drug development as secondary endpoints. So I was feeling actually very avant-garde with my knowledge from Northeastern in my own organization, being a strong believer that you can be an entrepreneur in an organization, not necessarily just owning a business, which I never have. But based on that knowledge base, and actually I remember Judy Barr saying, this will be a presidential election agenda item, key item within 2 elections, and it was. But at the time when I took it in school, nobody was talking about some of those concepts.
So for me, the program was a demanding program, and the range of courses and subject matter exposed to allowed us, I think, to begin to make decisions and customizing the direction that we would go. So that was the first thing that brought me. The other thing that no one should underestimate is the fact that Northeastern sits in Boston, and then the exposure to the industry and academia. The experience that we got was getting out there, presenting our work, standing on our feet, doing scientific presentations, answering questions on the fly. All of that is incredibly valuable as one advances through the career. So I'm just tremendously thankful for Northeastern.
We spent a lot of time talking about pharma, and we spent a lot of time talking about venture capital. I think it's important to note that knowing where you belong, there are really several levels of funding. The first is not venture capital, but the first is family, friends, and angels. And I think that kind of funding is is very often the toughest to find and to sort through in the marketplace. I think perhaps we can help you with that. There are some angel funds in the Boston area. But often your early stage idea is going to be funded while you keep your day job, and perhaps your wife, you do it after hours, so you have someone who can work for free. But especially on the smaller end, this afternoon we have a physical therapist who bootstrapped his own practice into 5 very large clinics around Greater Boston. We have a nurse who built a relatively large home infusion company from his experiences. We have a clinical pharmacist who has built several businesses in the area of clinical pharmacy. So there are businesses. We have experience, and we have folks who work in all areas. We have Dick Klein and Mark McWilliams on we call them the device guys. The guys that are with the fathers of the infusion pump, the ambulatory infusion pump. We'll give a session this afternoon. But there are, in addition to there are really 3 places to get money. Friends and family being number 1, including angels, which I mean, if you want to raise $500,000 or $1 million, perhaps you can do that from angels. This venture capital that like Christina represents, that will do clinical stage and earlier stage thing. And then there's private equity. And private equity is sort of the buyout money, the money that if you have an opportunity to buy a division of a company or to buy a company that's up and running, there's a group of folks that's sort of in that 3rd stage that have moved to the safer world of buyouts. I think as a mentoring program, we can help you sort through that. We have representatives from every level of the funding spectrum. Thank you all for coming. We look forward to meeting you and knowing you and working with you in the future. And thanks to our panelists. Thank you very much.